What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a brand new series on OWN. It's part of the Love and Marriage franchise. This is Love and Marriage Detroit. This is season one, episode one. The episode is titled "What Up, Though." So, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a huge solid favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video if I didn't say that. But yeah, you guys, let's talk about Love and Marriage Detroit. I wasn't expecting a new franchise to be added to Love and Marriage, but we're here with Detroit. So I watched the episode last night. Well, some of it last night, and then I'm watching it. I'll rewatch it again this morning. So just gonna see how this season shapes up for me. What up, Tracy? So I'm just gonna see how Love and Marriage Detroit shapes up. I'm gonna say this right here, right now, before we even delve into this review. So a certain producer, he always has a lot to say about Real Housewives of Atlanta, Potomac, Beverly Hills. I really want him to focus more on his shows, especially Huntsville. Huntsville, DC, those shows need some help. This one right here, I'm trying to feel out these couples and see how I feel about them, but the jury is out right now. I will say so far, I don't like anybody. That's just my opinions right now. I'm not too fond of any of them, but Tracy, you say you have feelings. Let the feelings be known in the live chat. I really want to know what y'all think about this show so far. The first episode, it was alright. I didn't hate it. There are some people that I don't like necessarily right off the bat, but we'll talk about them. So first, let's go down the line. We're going to talk about the couples real quickly. So the first couple is Russell and Colby. What I will say about this couple, they're a very, very beautiful couple, but I can't get past Colby's eyebrows and her makeup. They don't seem to match each other. No shade to it, but they just don't seem to match each other. But Colby and Russell, so they've been married to each other for 3 years at this point. They have a daughter, and I forgot what he said he does, but I know that she's an influencer and a content creator. And I think there's going to be a little bit of an issue between Colby and I believe her name is Christina, but we'll get to her. I think there'll be a little bit of tension between those two, right? What I will say about Colby and Russell, Russell is, oh, the way he was talking to her at one point in this episode, I was like, oh my God. Because at one point in the episode, Christina, which we'll talk about her in just a minute, she was talking about one of the husbands being a chauvinist. I'm like, I think Russell is a chauvinist as well. Because the way he was talking to to Colby, stay over here and ours, stay over here, stay over here. Like the way he was talking to him, like that kind of gives a little bit of chauvinistic as well. He don't know how to romance her. The only game he knows how to play with her is sex. Like, say what now? Very much gives you. A lot of these couples, you can look at them and they kind of parallel some of the people from Love and Marriage Huntsville, and I'll tell you who I think is who in just a minute. Choices. I feel like they moved Mello and Martell and Tisha and Marceau to Detroit. Absolutely. This couple gives me Glenn and Tisha from Bell Collective. That too. They do give Glenn and Letitia from Bell Collective, and they also kind of give me a little bit of who did they give me from Huntsville? Because honestly, they kind of give me a little bit of Maurice and Kimmy, a little bit. But let me know what you guys think. But yeah, aesthetically, they're a handsome, they're a very beautiful couple. I just don't. I'm gonna keep it real. I feel like some of these people came on this show to sign, like everybody said about Monique from Love and Marriage DC. I think quite a few of these couples came on here just to put their marriages on TV and get them divorces because I don't see any of these couples surviving, literally, because I can see cracks in every marriage. This marriage right here, there's a huge crack because I think he's the one that's going to go to divinity school. One thing I can say, I think there's an issue with the men is communication. I think there's a big issue with communication when it comes to the men of this show, much like with Love and Marriage Huntsville. Next up, we are going to talk about Latoya and Anthony. So Latoya is a doctor, and she's very beautiful. By the way, she's a beautiful woman. Latoya is a doctor, and Anthony he works for a company called Live Nation. I did catch that, but he's also in the music industry as well. He's also in the music industry. They have three children with each other. They have two boys and a girl. They have been married for 14 years at this point, and also with them, she said that I think it was she didn't. I don't know that she necessarily wanted to marry him, but she said he bought her a dog while they were in because they met while they were in college. I'm looking at Anthony and I'm just kind of trying to figure out what did Latoya see in this goof troop because that's literally what he gives me as a goof troop. Tracy says, I don't see one marriage I would want to be a part of. Not a one. Not a single one. So with Anthony and Latoya, this is 100% Tisha Marceau. Absolutely. The fact I'm just about to talk about that. The fact that this man went to Atlanta during the pandemic. Now I know he was talking about he was, working with Disney and Marvel and all that stuff. And I'm fine with that, right? When you want to do something for yourself and your career, that's not a problem. The issue with Anthony is it does not seem like you sat down with Latoya and had any kind of a conversation with her about this. It seems like you got the offer for Disney and Marvel, and you said, okay, this is a great opportunity. Let me get my ass up and go on down here to Atlanta and deal with this, right? And then he was talking about at one point in the episode, well, I was back and forth. You were back and forth, sir, but you still have a whole family. Like you really do give Marcel. And then the fact that you have this this man's movement, which sounds like a bunch of BS if we're gonna keep it a buck with each other. That man's movement sounds like crap. Oh my God, I've already been demonetized and I just ain't even said anything yet. Thank you, YouTube. But yeah, this man's movement, it just sounds like a bunch of BS to me. And then, like I said, the fact that he didn't tell her anything and he feels like she should just be okay with that, like, no. No, 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 no. That ain't how this works, Mr. Anthony. Like, I really do want to know what she's seeing this goofball because he is literally a goofball. And I'm gonna be honest, I think he's a little bitch made, and we're gonna talk about why I think he's bitch made in just a minute. Anthony didn't tell her shit. He absolutely didn't. Did I start cussing in the first few seconds of this video? Maybe I did. So also with Latoya and Anthony, they have she has a wine that she has, right? So he was telling her about traveling to LA, and then he just subtly mentioned going to Atlanta again. And I'm like, if you say your marriage was almost over because you went to Atlanta the first time, why are you talking about going to Atlanta now? Like it makes absolutely no sense to me why we're talking about going to Atlanta if your marriage was on the verge of implosion at that last time. But whatever, sir. I really couldn't be bothered to give a crap. So he was talking about the wine and how he was talking to somebody guess that they work with, and he was telling them that they need to focus on distribution because she wants this to go, go worldwide, go international, and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, I will say, from first impressions of the cast, I will say that I do like Latoya. I think Latoya is one of the women that I like, and then I would have to go maybe say Christina, but I'm gonna delve into Christina in just a little bit because I feel a little way about Christina. Tracy says that man's movement is worse than them terrible brunches on Bell Collective. You ain't never lied about that. He really he kept talking about that man's movement. I'm like, sir, explain what it is, because I'm still confused as ever. So the question that I actually had, because I know that they keep talking about that they've known each other for years, right? I know that Brandon and Anthony are saying are saying that they've known each other for 20 years. Is it like a consecutive 20 years? Because Monique and Winter knew each other for 15 years, but they weren't really friends for the 15 years. They just knew each other through passing. So I'm kind of wondering that if they know each other through passing, because the same thing with Christina and Colby, they said that they've known each other for what, 3 years now. So I'm just wondering, did these people hang out with each other, or is it just we've seen each other around town, and if we see each other, we speak to each other, and that be it. Because that's one of the things that I'm so kind of tired of when it comes to shows that Carlos King produces. Like, he can give his opinions on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, especially Real Housewives of Atlanta, how he's talking about Candy and Kenya are not friends, but nobody on your shows are really truly friends. Let's talk about Love and Marriage DC real quickly. None of those people who are on there currently are real friends with each other. Like, none of them. So I just be wanting him to take his own advice instead of trying to tell people how they should run their shows. So I will say that there are some issues between Brandon and Christina, and I'm gonna get to them in just a little bit. So at one point they were talking, they were having a picnic, right? And it was for Father's Day, so it was all the men and the women that got together, right? And so there is a friend of Christina's, and I think it's Christina and Brandon's, right? And the friend had, I guess, went to Vegas or something. Brandon was supposed to go, but he ended up not going because he says that when it comes down to it, that Christina asked him questions, but then it's like it turns into 21 questions and answers. So he eventually just says no, that he doesn't want to go. So then Anthony tells him, well, you need to come to my man's movement class. And Christina says, that's a hell no, right? And we'll talk about why Christina says that that's a hell. Actually, I can tell you why it's a hell no. It sounds like a bunch of ego-driven men getting together just to do nothing. So he also wants to take the guys on a weekend trip, right? So Christina was like, like, are you asking me or are you telling me? And Brandon says he didn't say anything, right? But Anthony says he doesn't have to ask his wife. I was like, oh, you definitely do give Marcel Scott. You don't have to ask your wife. And it's not even asking for permission. You are a husband to your wife and you are a father. So you have responsibilities. So you just get up and just leave your family at the drop of a dime. Like, I don't understand how anybody can be in any relationship with someone who can do something like that. If you have young children, which they all have young children, how do you just say, oh, okay, I want to take a trip? And because he tried to equate it to like a girl's trip. And I'm like, even if you want to say something about a girl's trip, women pre-plan their trips and they tell the husbands what they're gonna do, how long they're gonna be gone. They don't just up and say, "Oh, I'm going on a trip," and leave you without anything. Like, I didn't understand Brandon and Anthony in that moment. So let's get to this comment. Do a wine off, get Martell wine and Latoya wine and do a taste test. Hmm. I don't want to buy Martell's wine, but I would try out Latoya's wine. Martell and his wine can go straight to hell in a handbasket. You know what? I actually might do that. Even though I'm not a let's see. Let's see if I can find that incest wine and how much it is. Let's look up Martell's incest wine and see how much Inest wine. He got a whole website for it. Buy now. Use a motherfucking lie. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Martell is out of his rabbit ass mind. Inest wine is $39 for one bottle. Then a 3-pack is $117. Then a 6-pack is $234. And a 12-pack is $468. I wish the hell I would. I wish like hell I would do that. Nope. No, 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 no. Sorry. That's a lot of money. So next up, so before we get to the last couple, I sure did say $39 for one bottle. A bottle is $39. Yeah, nah. Martell can keep that. He can keep it. So this one scene that we saw Christina and Kobe, right? Oh my God. $39 for some relabeled Sutter Home. Yeah, that's what he says. His website literally says $39 for one bottle, just the bottle. Martell and Sheree are a match made in hell because they are crazy with these prices that they want to charge. I wish I would spend $39 for a bottle of wine from someone. Never mind, I was about to go say something not so nice about Martell, but no. So Christina and Colby, they, like I said, they know each other, but I don't know if they really know each other, right? So Christina and Colby, they went on a play date with their children, right? Now I will say Christina looks good for someone who just turned 40. She looks really good. She looks very young. And I think it might be those braces. I think it might be the braces that make Christina look as young as she is. That makes her look so young, right? But she's a beautiful girl. So I did notice in the one of the commercials that they showed of the episode that I think that Christina and Colby are going to have some issues with each other because of this whole influencer thing, because they're both influencers. And I'm just like, what are y'all arguing about as far as influencers? Do y'all do the same thing? Because if y'all don't do the same thing, then what are we arguing about? What are we talking about? Like, I'm just kind of confused about that. So they, like I said, they met up, and Christina is talking about. So Christina has two children with Brandon. So she's talking about how with Brandon, she is 90% hands on with the children, and Brandon is in about another 10% hands on with the kids. I'm like, how do y'all be in relationships with men that are like? I get that. I get the whole thing of the man works, the man is working, but you don't know how to say, okay, let me take some time to spend with my family. I just don't understand that. So also Brandon and Christina, they're getting ready to celebrate 11 years of marriage. And like I say, I don't know that any of these couples or marriages are going to survive this show. Like Brandon and Christina, I definitely don't see that marriage lasting. Latoya and Anthony, it might be something that'll survive. Colby, I just want her to take a real long, deep look at the way that her husband talks to her. Maybe she likes it. I don't know, but it just can be me. So let's go ahead and move on to the last couple, and then we can talk. So this is Brandon and Christina. Beautiful couple. Brandon, oof, mm-mm-mm. Brandon and Christina. Definitely the new Melody and Martell. Hmm. So Christina and Brandon, they've been, like I said, they've been married for 11 years, right? And they were the first couple that we met. So how they got together, I when I literally just think about it, and now I'm about to say it out loud, girl, you really did this. So he followed her on Twitter because he saw her he saw her avatar, her picture, her profile picture. He liked what it looked like, right? So he followed her, she followed him back, right? So they got married within 6 months, and then she moved to Detroit 4 days before their wedding. So one, you had never lived with him. Two, you uprooted yourself from wherever you came from for him and his man bun. I really feel like he might be going through a midlife crisis. The more I think about it, Brandon got to be going through a midlife crisis. They didn't say how old Brandon is, but if Christina is 40, then I'm assuming he's somewhere in his 40s as well, right? So, like I said, Brandon, he has a studio, so he works in the music industry, and he develop. I think he's like a art. He develops artists. So, in a sense, what it is he wants to be like Barry Gordy. He wants to create a new Motown in Detroit. Good luck to you, my friend. Good luck to you. So Christina says she's a fashion designer, she's an influencer, and an image consultant. So they have, like I said, they have two daughters together. And like I said, he wants to be Barry Gordy. So we see him, he's in the studio, right? He's working with an artist. And I will say that the girl did sound good. The thing that blew me with this particular scene with Mr. Brandon was he's in the studio, and actually the more I look at this does 100%. I just got a DM recently about this show. The more that you sit here and think about it, he does remind me of Stevie J's season one of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta when he was in a studio with Jocelyn and Mimi was calling him, and it gives it very much so does give Stevie J. So he's in the studio, right, working with this artist, and Christina called him up on the phone, and Christina was just really checking in with him, just see what's going on, like what time you coming home and all that kind of stuff. And I get that, yeah. Again, all these people have young children. I don't know how these men can just how these men can just make these fly by night decisions. One is going to Atlanta and spending time in Atlanta, and between Atlanta and Detroit, he's talking about he's a Detroit boy. I don't understand how these women are putting up with it, because it just, for the life of me, it couldn't be me. It wouldn't be me. Like, absolutely not. It just would not be me. The hell? So he was on the phone with Christina, and I'm like, Christina, you must can't read the room, because when she called him, he had a whole stank attitude with Christina. He was rude as fuck to Christina, and I would have been like, something's off. Like, is there another woman there? Because if it was a man, let's just keep it real, you guys. If Brandon was in the studio working with with a male artist, he wouldn't have been snippy and short with Christina. He was so short and snippy with Christina because, one, there was a woman in the studio. Two, he has not told Christina about this woman being in the studio. And that's something that you got to deal with, my dude, not your wife. You have to deal with that. And the question that I said last night on Twitter is, why aren't you telling her everything that's going on? That's a red flag in itself. Like, that's a big, huge red flag in itself for me personally. But I want you guys to tell me what you think. Yes, it's giving Love and Hip Hop. Like, come on, dude. But like I said, he was extremely rude with Christina. And if I was Christina, I would have told him, okay, you at the studio, but make sure that you don't bring your ass home tonight, because I'm not playing these games with you. So we see them as they're celebrating their 11th anniversary, right? So we have all the couples there. So it is Latoya and Anthony, is Christina and Brandon, and then it is Kobe and Russell, right? So they went to a lavender farm. This is something that Christina likes. Christina likes lavender. And for me, like I said earlier, Anthony just gives bitch made, because they were talking, and he once again wants to bring up this man movement. And so Christina was like, it just sounds like a bunch of male chauvinists. I'm like, it absolutely is male chauvinist. I'm like, Anthony's a chauvinist. Russell's a chauvinist. Now with Brandon, I think that's just a philandering cheater. Like, this is Melody and Martell 2.0. And for the love of God, I can't deal with another Melody and Martell. Either, oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Jesus be offense. I can't imagine them, because like I said, I don't really see them lasting too long in their marriage. I feel like this show is really just mostly for divorce purposes, my personal opinion. You guys can let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. But so they were talking about this man movement, right? And Anthony, the way he was talking to Christina, he was calling her, which I don't have a problem with him calling her sis, but it's like you're talking to this woman just with a little bit of a sassy attitude. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, Brandon, the way he's talking to your wife, you're not gonna say, hey, bro, like, don't talk to my wife like that. Like, Brandon was just literally sitting there listening to this man talk to his wife all kinds of crazy. And I was like, I would have got up and slapped his ass, period, point blank, right? So, Miss Colby, I know that, you didn't know that Christina didn't know that Brandon had signed on this woman as an artist. That's fine. I get that. But why did you have to bring it up? Was the question. Why did you bring it up? And then, Christina, my question to you is, you kept talking about there's history, there's history, there's history. You're saying there's history, but you're not spitting out what the history is. So everybody is wondering, what the hell are you talking about, right? When it comes to the artist. So I know at one point Brandon was talking about one of his artists. They one of his artists had a birthday party, and he was at the club, with her. Right now, here's my thing about the club situation. How are you finding art? Like, I don't know. I think the question was posted like, are you going to the club to try to find artists? But here's my question: how are you trying to find an artist in a club? Unless it's a lounge where someone is singing, then I can see that. But if you're going to a nightclub where they're just playing music, where it's a DJ and they just playing music, you're not finding artists. You're looking for other women. That's my personal opinion, right? So, like I said, Christina keeps talking about there's history, there's history, and she really never really wanted to say what the history was. But after Kobe spilled the tea that Brandon has a female artist, and so she started crying, and at one point she said to Anthony that she's not insecure. She knows her husband. I'm like, Christina, it is a little bit insecurity, my love. Like, it is a little bit of an insecurity. I know you want to say it's not, but it is. So, and the reason why it's insecurity is because of what you went through with a previous artist where you tried to help the girl and the girl tried to help herself to your husband. So, it's some insecurity, my love. I just want you to be open and honest with that. Tracy says, I need Carlos to lay on someone's couch and figure out why he hates women so much. I've been seeing people make that comment about Carlos, that he hates women, and more specifically, Black women. I don't really pay too much attention to Carlos, so I, I do want him to sit on the couch and just work out a lot of his issues because there are a lot, but that's neither here nor there. In her husband's defense, he did tell her to step her toes out of their relationship. He did. He did. Russell. He told him her. Here's my issue with that as well. If so, we saw a little flashback scene that we didn't see in the episode. Here's my issue with what Russell did, right? The issue that I have is Russell and Brandon had the conversation about this artist, and Russell was told by Brandon that Russell was told by him that he hasn't told her at this point. So I had an issue with Russell going back and doing pillow talk with Kobe. Like, I just had an issue with that. The artist he cheated with in the last is LaBritney. You lying. Oh, wow. I had to go Google these people. You know what that is, right? LaBritney is from Detroit, isn't she? Ain't that something? The T. So yeah, I had an issue with Kobe, straight up just telling it, especially in this setting. That wasn't cool. That was not cool. Because even if you thought she knew, you could have done that you could have did that many different ways instead of just blurring the business out. Like, you really could have done that. And I think I think that Christina said it was an emotional affair. Girl, that's the worst type of affair to have. An emotional, that means he was starting to fall in love with that girl. So I would prefer I would prefer neither, but if I had to choose, I would prefer a physical affair as opposed to an emotional affair, because that means that he was literally falling for that girl. So yeah, but yeah, Love and Marriage Detroit, they do. Doesn't the wife and LaBritney look similar? They really do look. They do look similar. They do. But yeah, this is love. That was Love and Marriage Detroit. I want you guys to tell me, did you guys like this episode in the comments and a live chat? I'm gonna stick with Love and Marriage Detroit for now, because I know that after this season of Love and Marriage Huntsville wraps up, that JB is done with Huntsville. This is my last season of Huntsville, so from going forward, I can say that I will stick with Detroit and DC respectively. But Huntsville, it's a absolute hell no for me. I got to get off here and go and watch that episode and then record my review for that. But I'm so ready for that to wrap up. But yeah, let's go back to the cast photo. because I want to tell you guys who I think who is, like I said earlier, I feel like some of these couples are very similar to couples from Love and Marriage Huntsville. So the couple that is in the Colby and Russell, which I'll show you guys again who Colby and Russell are. This is Colby and Russell. So Colby and Russell, for me, I can see that they kind of remind me a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of Maurice and Kimmy. And then Latoya and Anthony, these two absolutely 100% remind me of Marceau and Letitia. Anthony reminds me of Marceau. Latoya doesn't remind me of Letitia in the fact that, oh God, this is going to come out very shady, but Latoya seems very smart. I'm not saying Letitia's dumb, but Letitia acts a little dingy. And then the Melody and Martell, Christina and Brandon. I don't need this. Go away from me with this. And then Marceau is making an appearance on the show. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Of all people, Marceau? No. You got a Huntsville Bell Collective Love and Hip Hop mix. True. Marceau is going to be on a future episode. You can't get away from Huntsville. Oh, I can. The one episode, depending on how much Marceau is seen in an episode, I will act like Marceau does not exist on that episode. I will be like the guy from Huntsville who I refuse to say his name. Like, what the hell? But yeah, you guys, Love and Marriage Detroit, season 1, episode 1. If I had to rate it, I would give it on a scale of 1 to 10. I would give it a 7, I would say. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh my God, wow, that was the best episode I've watched. It wasn't that. I will say that this first episode for me, by far, it was better than DC's first episode of the season of their first season. So I'm here for it for now. We're gonna see how these couples play out. Like I said, I can see cracks in all 3 of these marriages. I can see cracks in Christina and Brandon, Colby and Russell, and for damn sure, Anthony and Latoya. Can I be honest before I get up here? I really don't think that Latoya is that into Anthony. Like, when she was saying that she didn't know she wanted to marry him, I was like, sis, I don't think you want to marry him, period. Like, he's a big corny goofball, my personal opinion. But that's it, you guys. Like the video. So Tracy agrees with the 7. Yeah, it was okay. Could have been better. Mel and Martell talked about cheating at their anniversary dinner too. They sure did. Love and Marriage Huntsville, that show, I'm just trying to erase it from my memory banks at this point. But yeah, you guys, like the video on your way in and out. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your post notifications on, you guys. Share the video. And until the next time, stay safe. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys later. So today is Sunday. Like I said, I got to get off of here and go watch Love and Marriage Huntsville. But you guys know that the BET Awards is tonight. So I'm going to be watching the BET Awards, and that review will be up either later tonight or early in the morning. And then Real Housewives of Atlanta and Summer House Martha's Vineyard, those will be up tomorrow afternoon. And I'll see you guys for all of those. Bye, guys.